Hi, my name is Lloyd Chapman, and I'm president of the American Small Business League. I want to talk about a new bill that's been introduced into the House of Representatives that can be very, very bad for small businesses. It's called H.R. 2767. It was introduced by Congressman Sam Graves from Missouri, but it's really being, as one magazine called it, quarterbacked by Nydia Velázquez. And the bill is being pushed by the National Venture Capital Association, and they want to get government small business contracts. So this is a group of people, some of the wealthiest investors in the country. They've given millions and millions of dollars in contributions to President Obama and key members of Congress like Nancy Pelosi and Nydia Velázquez and obviously Sam Graves. And they're essentially trying to buy this bill. And if they're successful, small businesses all across the country are going to be harmed by this. Here's what they want to do. Since 1953, the federal definition of a small business has been what's called independently owned. And that means, independently owned means not owned by multiple people or not owned by a large corporation, but owned by, a small business. And they want that changed to include companies owned by not only one venture capitalist, but multiple venture capitalists, and even, I think what's called venture capital, what do they call that? Venture capital?
Syndicates.
Syndicates, yeah. So it's like a small business to you. Venture capital syndicates are going to get federal small business contracts. Now they're trying to do it on these small business innovative research contracts right now, which are a fairly small batch of contracts. But our friends up in Washington tell us that they're trying to expand that definition to include all small business contracts. We know that that's what they want to do because that's what Velázquez did about a year ago. She passed a piece of legislation that would have allowed firms that were actually legally owned by multi-millionaire, even billionaire venture capitalists would be considered small businesses. And I think you'll agree with me that that's not what Congress had in mind when they passed the Small Business Act in 1953. And that's not what's in the best interest of our country right now and our economy. So last summer, when Velázquez tried this the last time, the bill was opposed by every small business group in the country. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce and I don't get along very well, and even they were against it. And not one small business group in the country was in favor of it. So think about that. Think about it this way. When Nydia Velázquez and Sam Graves proposed a piece of legislation that was opposed by every small business group in the country, all coming together, it's anti-small business. And that's what it is. It's anti-small business. So it would set a very dangerous precedent. And again, they want to change the definition of a small business as being independently owned to include firms owned by the nation's wealthiest venture capitalists. And last year, by the way, the White House and the SBA both opposed it. Unfortunately, venture capitalists have been probably some of the largest contributors to President Obama's campaign, if not the largest contributors to his campaign. And I think the proof of that is the fact that he appointed Karen Mills, a multimillionaire New York venture capitalist, to head the Small Business Administration, and another venture capitalist, Mr. Sargent, to head the SBA Office of Advocacy. So, I wrote a press release the other day that said President Obama is trying to sell the Small Business Administration to the venture capitalist. And looking at it objectively, that's what it looks like they're trying to do. So I hope that people out there in America agree with me that small businesses already have enough trouble here in this economy. The last thing they need is to lose more government contracts to companies owned by multimillionaires and billionaires. And right now, of the 28 million small businesses in America that are responsible for half of the gross national product and 95% of all the new jobs, they've gotten 0.2% of the bailout money. 0.2%. And now Nydia Velázquez and Sam Graves want to take that little Mickey Mouse part that they're getting, take it away, and give it to wealthy venture capitalists that have made huge contributions to Nydia Velázquez's campaign and Sam Graves' campaign and Barack Obama's campaign. We need to stop them. Help us. Join the American Small Business League. Call your congressman, call your senator, call the meeting in your area, call Velázquez and Graves, and tell them no. We're not going to let you cheat small business out of more money. Thanks. I'm Lloyd Chapman with the American Small Business League.